Okay, today's subject of this chat is the music scene in the Philippines. I don't even think that's the right way to say it. I got too many stories. I have a weakness for love songs, especially old ones or acoustic ones. The guitar attracts me, the acoustic guitar. And since my youth, I've been attracted to acoustic sounds of a guitar. Oh, I love the piano too. There's a famous pianist that has variations on well-known songs, and he's so skilled. And I love his music. He has albums called Winter, Summer, Fall, Spring, and he's a fantastic piano player. I think he died. He's in America. I think he died of cancer. But he has terrific music, great piano pieces, gentle, beautiful, lovely playing. Like my daughter Jan, she's fantastic. She can sit down and just play whatever's in her mind. I love to hear her every day. His name is George Winston. But I'm not saying that kind of music's here, but they do have, like I walked into a coffee shop in Capalogan last year in Samar, southern, near Leyte, near Tacloban. And it was a certain season of the year, it was October, late October, early November, and they were playing a piano folder, or whatever you call it, music on YouTube, and it was just terrific piano music. It's just so refreshing and beautiful in this little coffee shop in this little town. But, I want to tell you about my experience about the music here. I have an acoustic guitar. I've been here several times and I brought it. Recently I brought a 12-string, and the Filipino men are typically known to be able to pluck those strings with their hand. Not even a pick, not a thumb pick. They can really pick that thing and play wonderfully. So I brought it and I thought, holy smokes, I bought a 12-string. That's a whole nother story. And I let people use it here. I find out they can play, and I say, hey, would you like to play my guitar? And they're a little shy sometimes, and so I bring it to them, and they can play masterfully. Some of them are challenged on the 12-string though. So I was at a ferry port in one part of the Philippines, and there was a blind guy in there, and it's an indoor enclosure with aircon, and he's standing there playing the guitar with a strap. And he's blind, and there's a woman blind next to him, and they're singing, and they accept that here in certain buildings or venues outside too. Although I think it's illegal for children to beg. I think it's illegal. You're not supposed to give to them. You can get in trouble. There's certain reasons for that for another chat, but it might not be what you think. I walked up to the guy, and maybe I made a donation. That's something that's accountable, legitimate. I have a hard time giving to things that aren't accountable. I don't know who that person are. Do they have a house? I didn't even have a house. Do they have a bank account? I hear stories where people go out and beg and they go back to a nice house. Okay, so I like accountable giving, that I'm sure that the person is really needy, like a blind person, and although everybody else is letting them in there, the police, the guards. So I walked up and I said, hi, how you doing? I got a 12-string. Can you play it? Would you play it? Yeah. And he didn't talk much, but he took the guitar and was standing there, and it had no strap. And he was playing, and it was wonderful. And the woman sang beautifully, very emotionally beautiful, and it was lovely. And I just loved hearing him play my guitar. And so a guard or a policeman calmly saw that the guy didn't have a strap, so he brought him over a little stool, and the guy helped him sit down. And that's the kindness here in the Philippines. There's no out of stock on kindness. So that was something. And the other thing that impressed me was last year I was in the Manila airport, and there's a coffee kiosk like in the middle of the walkway near the elevators on the first floor. And I had all my luggage. I was there way early. That's my custom. And there was a guy sitting. There was like 4 stools in this little coffee kiosk. 2 baristas in there, guys, and they were listening to music, and I started to talk to them, and we were having a hard time communicating at this time. And so, but the guy next to me was on his phone. He's kind of laughing. I talked to him, and he noticed my guitar or something. I said, "Do you play?" He said, "Oh, I'm not very good, and I can't sing well." I said, "Well, why don't we try?" And we had time, and I opened it up. He was a businessman. Turns out to be a terrific character. Lives in Upper Luzon, I think north of Baguio, way north of Baguio. Has a family. And we spent playing about an hour and a half songs. I played songs, he played songs. He had a great tone and pitch. I wish I could sing like him. So it wasn't true. He was really good. He's showing me songs. He's like putting my finger. No, put your finger here on the guitar, And I'm like showing him, no, do it this way, play this song this way. Here's the chord progression, here's the chord progression, D, whatever. And it was just a great experience. And then my experience on traveling here, I took a trip here to learn how to travel, because the first time I came here, I stayed in one city. I didn't really know how to take a bus, a trike, a tuk-tuk, a jeepney, plane, a ferry. So I was taking this bus from Manila to Baguio, and it was a certain bus line. And there was a handsome, chubby guy sitting there, bouncing sometimes on the seat because of the bumps. And he was listening to country music and quietly, softly singing. And he had a man that would take the money and keep track of the money. And that guy, we didn't talk English, but me and the bus driver talked English. They're sort of humming the song. So I started singing, and it was a long drive. And we're listening to these country songs, and I said, man, we heard that song 5 times. So he put in Air Supply, and it was a stick on the Air Supply. So we're singing those a little bit, not too loud, not to disturb the other people. It was a legitimate bus, aircon, big, holiday cruiser kind of type. But I have too many stories. I went to a small island off of Cat Balogan in Samar a couple of times, and it's like a 5-room resort, all right? At least 5 on the front, 5 in the back. And so you have to book it, or else you can't just go there and stay. You have to book it to know for sure you're gonna have a place. It's not a large place. But I walked out at night around 9 or 10 o'clock, and they have little huts near the bay, little swimming area, and there's this guy out there playing a guitar under a pavilion. And I sat there, and it drew me to him because it's acoustic. I get drawn to acoustic guitars from my youth on up. I just gotta listen. And it's just such good harmony. And he's playing, and then when I got to know him, I said, hey, I got a guitar. I brought my guitar. We played for a long time. So the next night we played, and then I came back a year or 2 later, and we played again. And I brought him guitar strings from America and gave him a little gift. He's kind of like my friend. And I have so many stories. You can go to cities, and on the weekends, typically there's acoustic or rock and roll or reggae. There's even reggae venues. It's the first time I heard in Coron, Palawan, where they have rock and roll bands come in every night or whatever they are, love song singers. And there was this big chubby guy. He looked just like the guy with the ukulele, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And he sang it with his electric guitar. I think it was solo. It just caught my attention, and I thought, this is wonderful. I haven't heard that song, reggae. It's like a 1950s movie, The Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And they reggae it. Sounded terrific. It's like acoustic. I went to an island in north of Cebu, Bantayan, and the reason I'm not into travel, I just don't like to travel, but I did travel here, and I do travel here to learn what it's like to live in certain cities, because it's different. Baguio is cold at night. It is actually kind of cold. One night I was out going to the bus from the night market that closes at 2. I was going to the 3 a.m. bus trip near the mall in Baguio, which is an open-faced bus line, Genesis, and you go in to sit down. And I was cold. I needed a jacket, and I did not have a jacket. I thought, I can handle this, and I got a little cold. And Philipinos freeze up there. They say it's freezing. I said, no, in Pennsylvania it's freezing. You need to come here and see what it's like, what ice cubes are like. So, the music scene in Coron, a little teeny town in a hot and sweaty place. It's all sweat and sunburn in Coron, but they have great boat trips to the islands. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Stayed there like 10 days, got stuck there in a typhoon, so I had to stay an extra 5 days because the flight wasn't going to be there. They told me that, so I was happy to be stranded on an island in the Philippines. What a problem that is, that it wasn't that bad of a storm. It was a real typhoon, but we didn't get hit bad. And they canceled the flights. But they had a shared restaurant area. It was really strange how I discovered that. And you could have multiple bills from different restaurants to serve you, but it was one venue at 9 o'clock every night. They'd have this new band in every night. Terrific singers. They'd invite you up and play. One guy had a saxophone, and he came up to try to play and blend in with the band. It was so bad. They didn't say it was bad. He kind of walked away, and a couple songs later, he came up and did a solo saxophone because he couldn't get that sax in tune with the band. So that's how hard it is to play together. We all know that. Those of us that understand music, it's tough to blend in and play together. You really got to practice. You just can't chime in. Some guys that chime in, they're fantastic skill. I have an excellent teacher and music composer in Lancaster, PA, and his name is Wayne, and he's taught so much, and he helped me develop love songs when I had an ambition to do something I can't do, which is write music, and I can't really sing well. I'm not like a bird. I only can strum the guitar. I can't read music. I don't know lead patterns. I don't know all the chords. I cannot play them. I have a bent pinkies. I can't really play well. But I wanted to write a song, and it turned out terrific. There was a lot of variety in the song, guitar-wise, chord-wise, and the lyrics are kind of good. They're a love song. And he loved it. And he's an expert. But you come here, everywhere you go, people love music. Of course, there's karaoke. Some will invite you over to their home to sing with them. These are happy people, and they want to express themselves verbally. They'll have bands or solo singers in the malls, and you just listen, and it's quite loud. They'll have a big venue on the first floor, or they'll be on the third floor on a corner near the grocery store, the clothing store. This is my experience. And when I was in Coron, I had the hardest time getting my children that are adults to listen to a love song so we could listen to and evaluate it and see if we enjoy it. And they don't like to do that. Oh, not with you, Dad. You're my dad. I'm not going to do that. I'm saying, how can I sing? And then my son, we were going to play guitars before I left. He even said, hey, let's play guitars together. And I'm thinking, this is great. I love it. It never happened. They're just not available. And that's why I'm isolated in America. I come here, I'm not isolated. So in Coron, another example of the music, there was a young lady at the hotel there right in the city, small town, and I said, hey, listen to this song. She listens and starts to get into it, and I'm like, this is great. These people accept me and participate with me and let me participate with them in singing. They'll even invite me up in the music venues to sing. I can do that. I've done it in the past. I haven't done it this trip, and I live here now for 3 months, but I'm game to get up there and sing one of my love songs. So I think it's okay. They might not catch all the lyrics, but hey, they sing karaoke. They sing lyrics. They don't even know what it is. John Denver's song. They did it in Coron, and there's foreigners from all over the world in Coron. That's the most foreigners I've seen in an enclave here. I don't really see them here in General Santos, but there was a ton of European women, single there, couples, and they all sang John Denver's Country Roads with the Filipino band. But they don't understand Stranger Two Below Water. They don't understand the lyrics, right? Especially Filipinos. I ask them, not to find fault, but to see if they understand English. Is there a language barrier? There is. It's not. I'm not condemning them. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying I noticed there's a difference. So the John Denver's Country Road song is that West Virginia is a stranger to blue water. What does that mean? It means it's landlocked. There's no ocean around it on the edges. They don't know that. And it says misty taste of moonshine. They don't know what moonshine is. Some of them might. What is that? But they sing it. They love it. The women sing the song, the men solo or in a group or in a venue. And it means the highest strength whiskey there is, almost 200 proof. It'll just make you blind. It's toxic. And they make it in America, like in West Virginia. In the old days, it was secret. It was illegal. They made it in North Carolina. But moonshine is a type of whiskey that's the strongest there is. It's not 100 proof. It's not 80. It's not Jack Daniels. It's not Bacardi 151. It's like 190 proof. I knew a guy when I was young, Eugene Herb. He had moonshine. I don't know where he got it. I tasted it. It was blah. I could not drink that stuff when I was a kid. But the music palette here I enjoy. I remember going to Samal Island across from Davao City, and they had every day it was a very open air beachy area, and you could see Davao across the little bay. And every day they had way down under the one pavilion, and pavilion, you could sit there and lay down in the shade and then go in the water and swim. They had a lovely, soft, smooth love song band that would play and sing, and a lady, and she was expressive. And it's just memories. I finally figured out this year, or at the end of last year, my favorite love song of all time, and I have like 10 or 3, but the number one is Just Between You and Me by April Wine, a Canadian band in the 70s or 80s. Nobody knows that, but I was in a venue in Batanian Island. There was a male and a female co-singer, and he sang the Banana song, Daylight Come and I Want to Go Home. Tally My Bananas. He was fantastic. But they would sing Little River Band songs like Time for a Cool Change. How did they know that? Somebody asked for it in the Saturday night outdoor tiki bar restaurant. I got food there. I ate, no walls, and just open air with a roof. And they were the best two singers I ever heard in the Philippines. And I asked the one lady, because they'd go off and take a break and they'd smoke and drink. I don't know how they could sing. They go off to the side. So I go up, because they're asking for requests. And I said, can you sing this song? Have you heard it? She said no. She went off, listened to it, and taught it to the band. They sang it in a reggae style or a slow love song style. I have it recorded. I love it. They did my favorite song, but in a different style. And she was terrific. It's the first time she ever sang it. And I got too many stories. In Pangalo, Bohol, the southern part of Bohol Island off of Cebu. It's a big, big island. I did not traverse it. They have the chocolate hills in the middle. Didn't even go anywhere near there. I was in the southern, near the beach. I forget, Alona Beach, Alona. It's like busy all the time. I didn't like it, but once I went there at night and saw all the music outside on the beach, a single guy playing a single guitar. I followed him the next day. I said, where? He goes, I'm going to be at the guitar restaurant. It's the shape of a guitar. And I met him there the next night and heard him play again. But they had, one time we were at a resort there, and we paid for the pools, because I was getting rashes swimming in the water there. I don't know why, but I got rashes from swimming in the pool too, the chlorine pools. It was like 2 pools. It was beautiful. Just that massive pool, all kinds of ins and outs. So we spent all day there. It included the buffet. It was a terrific food. So we're leaving at 6, because that's when we're supposed to be leaving. And as I walked at the beach, it's the resort beach, the water, and there's a lot of diving shops there. Diving this, diving, 10, 15 shops along there. It's not a big place, but diving's big there. And they had this wonderful band. And I sat there and I got a Coke Zero. She said, sir, do you want a drink? Yeah, I'll take I spent another 2 hours. I wanted to go home. I'm like, I got to listen to these people. And they did requests. One of the people said, you can request, don't be shy. And I'm like, I don't know. I always do this. And I requested one. And then he said, write 4 down on a napkin. So I wrote 4 down. The lady said, we can't do all these, because she was like putting a tamper on me. But she did like 2, and they did more than words. It was terrific. And the great thing about that band, there's a guy back there, sort of chunky. He had a synthesizer, and this is outdoors in the dusk, in the dark, and he is getting into it, adding these sounds to it that I never heard before. He was terrific. The best synthesizer guy I've ever heard. He would add sounds, and I just cannot emphasize enough my experience in the music scene. I had a tuk-tuk truck driver in El Nido, Palawan. I went to El Nido this year. And I said, I have a guitar, do you play? He said, yeah. I said, come on over here. He sat down in my little apartment complex, in a little hotel, off the beaten trail. He sat down, I got a picture of him playing my guitar. I said, it's a 12-string, can you try to play it? So he starts playing it. This makes me happy, So if you like music and you like to sing, you're gonna have anything you want to do, you can do. But again, my weakness is love songs, and they slow them down, they sing them beautifully. I've got so many more stories, but I've said way too much. Enjoy the love songs.